XRP hit our target, as we have been talking about and discussing with you guys for what feels like weeks. We dropped down to that 50-cent level, dropping 7.8% yesterday alone. In today's video, I'm going to be assessing the price action of XRP, sharing my thoughts and opinions as to where I think the price action is heading next. Are we finally hitting a local bottom, or do we have a little bit more to the downside before we get into that big breakout heading towards 75 to 85 cents? Guys, as I get into today's video, smash that like button if you're new, subscribe, and let's take a look at what's going on with the price action here of XRP. So this is XRP paired up with USDT. We're on the 1 hour Binance chart. You can see that our target range was right down here. We came down here yesterday. We got a good reversal so far, coming in after hitting that 50-cent low, coming in at 50.26. We obviously can see here we've rallied up 4.28. Now, we are finding a lot of resistance here, but it's possible that maybe we push up towards the 50 EMAs, 50 SMAs once again, as these have been heavy resistance for us on the 1 hour time frame, even that 200 EMA. So, it still looks like, unfortunately, we may have to go down a little bit deeper. We'll talk about what that looks like on the daily time frame in a moment. But you can see here from great moves to the downside so far. Okay, so taking a look at our structures, we have some very interesting moves going on. To me, this looks like a WXYXZ, but we're going to go ahead and do the due diligence and just check what this looks like. And then I'll explain what a WXYXZ actually is, so you guys can be a little bit more informed with it. So I'm just going to go check this wick high here on the 1600 hours on Wednesday. This was a high of 56.48. Okay, this is really important that we actually go ahead and put the price action on the fibs exactly there, because we got very, very close to 1.618. 1.618 comes in at 50.27, and our wick here comes down to 50.26. So we did actually cross 1.618. That is an impulsive trigger point, indicating that we should be thinking about further slippage to the downside. Now, the good news is I don't think we have the correct structure for an impulsive break to the downside. Instead, I think we have more of a WXY, and Z pattern. The reason for that is that we would have to see 5 waves in wave 1. We'd have to see 5 waves in wave 3, we'd have a bounce for wave 4, and then we'd have to have another 5 waves to the downside, right? So it would look something to this effect, right? You'd have 5 waves coming down for your wave 1, you'd have to have 5 waves coming down for your wave 3, hitting 1.618, and then you'd have to come down again in a final 5-wave move, right? They call it a 5-3-5-3-5 with 3 waves up in each of those scenarios. The problem here is that we don't really have 5 waves coming down. You have 3 waves coming down. Now, it's possible, of course, that it's an overextension. You go little 1, 2, little 3, 4, maybe 5, like that, but it would be very irregular to have that there, but then also in the wave 3. Okay, could be an expanding diagonal, but then again, you have to try to explain what was going on in the wave 3. Instead, what I think is going on is you have a simple 3-wave correction here. You then have another 3-wave correction over here, which I'm going to use ABC would be correct, like so, okay? And not WXY, but a ABC structure. Now, a zigzag pattern is a 5-3-5 pattern. And although this could be a diagonal on a bigger macro scale, it's important to note that this actually looks more like a double zigzag pattern. But hitting the 1.618 down here at 50.27 means that we should be expecting another ABC structure to the downside, okay? So although we have these little kind of bounces going on to the upside, we should be expecting another zigzag pattern to the downside. Okay, that's the importance of why we see these particular patterns playing out for XRP. Now, I know this is complicated. I know Elliott wave theory isn't the easiest subject to kind of understand in the market. It gets lots of rules. There's lots of Fibonacci numbers. There's lots of different wave structures: WXY, WXYXZ, ABC, 1 through 5s, expanding diagonals, contracting, and so forth. Right, a lot to kind of understand, lots to kind of get into. Now, if you want to know more about Elliott wave theory, join us in our free Discord server linked in the description, or check out 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗏𝑠chool.com, where I'd actually put a course together explaining Elliott wave theory. But on Elliott wave to one side, what I'm essentially telling you guys is that we have a high probability of further downside. Okay, so we want to be a little bit cautious over what happens next here. So if we get a bounce a little bit higher, which we might do, heading out towards the 50 EMA, 50 SMA, we want to be thinking about this move coming down a little bit deeper coming in at 48.28 to about 51.06. And of course, that's on the assumption that we rally up towards 52.9 cents. Okay, so obviously those numbers are just hypothetical at this point because we don't have an exact read on where that's going, but I'm going to just leave it there as a bit of a guide for you guys to understand. I'm looking for rejection on the 50 EMA, 50 SMA. If we do get a temporary break above that, the rejection should be on the 200 EMA, and that will be where my short would potentially be. Tight stop loss, targeting out that higher range there, and looking for a minimum of 1.5 on the risk reward ratio, but I think this one will play out a lot better than that. So again, you guys can adapt to whatever you want to do, but that's how I would approach the market. I'll be looking for confirmed breakdowns rather than breakouts. I think we're going to get some fake breakouts, but 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗔𝗥𝗘 continues to be a bit of a problem for the crypto market, Bitcoin and XRP alike. So right now it's very, very interesting here. We can see a little bit more slippage to the downside, which is going to coincide with our trend line here on the daily time frame, which we'll get to in a moment. Our stochastic RSIs are up in the overbought area on the hourly chart, so we will be looking for a shift to the downside. Our smart money concepts are of course bearish. Structures are confirmed bearish, so we had change of character, break of structure, break of structure, break of structure, break of structure. All of these are basically telling us that the price action here is bearish, and that is why we've been shorting the hell out of XRP, ADA, and so forth on these videos, right? So very important that we understand those concepts. So a little bit higher potentially for that equilibrium retest, but otherwise everything's looking unfortunately not yet finished to the move to the downside. On our daily time frame, of course, we've been talking about this move for a while and how this is a part of a bigger bullish break to the upside where we are targeting out 75 to 85 cents. But of course, retest of our trend line. Now, we were hoping that we'd get that on the 5th, keep it all together. The 5th of July, the 5th of August, the 5th of September would have been a nice touch. We moved down on the 6th of September, but we haven't tapped into our trend line just yet. You can see that Z wave though would essentially test out that trend line, and that is where we'll be looking for the potential longs. Okay, so if we do come down here, we do test this trend line, we'll be looking to go long. I do not expect us to go down into a daily lower low. I think it's going to be another higher low situation here, and we'll look for 1.5 on the risk reward ratio, but I think that's going to be a great entry on a potential long all the way up to 75 cents, where I do see XRP and do think that that's where XRP is heading. Risk reward ratio on that kind of scenario here with an approximate entry around 49.78, stop loss at 44.76, and take profit around 74.3 is going to put us at a 4.88 risk reward ratio. And of course, if I'm going to be doing a trade like that, I'm going to be trading on 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗔𝗥𝗘, and I'm going to be taking advantage of something in around a 5 to 10x leverage, and I'm going to let that ride for several weeks. That would be my approach to it, but of course everyone can do their own thing. That's just my thoughts and opinions on how I would approach this, just personally. Obviously, I'm not a financial advisor. I can't give financial advice. It's just how we've been mapping this and how I've been tracking these particular moves and how I would be looking to trade the next big swing for XRP's price action. So all in all, XRP is kind of behaving as expected, right? We're looking for the 50 cent. We hit it. We've bounced. And I'm saying now, actually, we're probably going down a little bit deeper, heading out towards kind of 48.4 to 51.05, and that's going to be a retest of our trend line, setting a higher low on the daily time frame, and we look for a bounce. Our stochastic RSIs on the daily time frame are pretty well good. They're in the oversold area. We can see momentum shifting here. If we take a look at the relative strength index, you can see it's coming down quite nicely. We can be looking for a bounce, and I think 75 to 85 cents is a pretty reasonable area. It's within the price action, and of course this is going to be a retest of the previous double tops that we've seen, so it could form a triple top scenario on XRP and a big rejection here. So again, if we wanted to, we could be looking for shorts, stop loss higher than 85, and probably come back down to the previous area of consolidation. Risk reward ratio minimum expectations would be 1.5, but we can address that a little bit later down the line. Bigger breakouts happen at $1.04, but I don't think we're going to see that. Not yet anyway, but we'll never know. We could be pleasantly surprised. But all in all, XRP is behaving as expected here, and it's good to see that everything is kind of playing out as we've been discussing on the channel for the last few weeks or so. Of course, you guys can let me know what your thoughts are on XRP's price action in the comments down below, or join us in our free Discord server and we can continue the conversations down there. But if, guys, you haven't done so already, smash the like button. If you're new, subscribe, and if you haven't done so, click here because this video is not one that you're going to want to miss.